I'd rather have Donald Trump as a dictator for 4 years. Absolutely.
This country needs a dictator. I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
He could stand on the front steps of the White House and commit murder, and I'm with him.
If he says it, then I'll go with it. And if he wants to be a dictator, then so be it.
This is it. The Thomas Nast cartoon. Patriots festooned in American flags, co-signing dictatorship. Remember We the People? You know there's more words after that, right? Smaller font, still binding. Look, if you want to love Trump, love him. Go to the rallies, buy the sneakers. You want to give him absolute power? You want him to be the leader uber alles? You want him to have the right of kings? You do you. But stop framing it as patriotism. Because the one thing you cannot say is that Donald Trump is following the tradition of the founders. He is advocating for complete and total presidential immunity. His words, not mine. That is monarchy shit. And it's your right to support it. But just do me a favor for historical accuracy. Next time you want to dress up at the rallies, wear the right colored coats.
Why did you vote for Trump?
Well, I voted for Trump because I didn't really like the whole Biden administration because it presented weakness.
Okay, so what specifically about the Biden-Harris administration presented weakness?
Well, just that, they wanted to help everybody they could.
So you think, okay, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Did Jesus want to help everybody that he could?
Well, I don't really know if Jesus was actually alive. Can't prove that.
You just said that you were a Christian.
Well, yeah, that's what I align with.
So if you're a Christian, that means that you believe Jesus was alive.
Well, I believe in what I know for a fact.
So then you want to be a Christian.
Then I guess I wouldn't be a Christian.
I'm so sorry. You're just racking my brain. This is hell for me. Do you guys see what I go through with some of these guests?
The Democrats were the ones that were for slavery. The Democrats were the ones that came up with the Jim Crow stuff.
Even if all of that were true about slavery, which party flies the Confederate flag today?
A lot of the Democrats.
You really think Democrats fly the Confederate flag
There's
more than
Democrats
Republicans?
that, yes.
Overwhelmingly, you'll see a Confederate flag right next to a Trump flag. That's just from the Supreme Court, but that's a decent answer. So you're pro-life.
I'm pro-choice.
You're pro-choice? Why would you name Roe v. Wade as the...
Well, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm pro-choice, but not. There has to be a limit, okay?
Of course, yeah.
I'm not late-term abortion.
Do you think Democrats do late-term abortions?
They absolutely do. And
No.
okay, why don't you do your research, right? Why don't you call where they in the state, and I can't think of it now, but there is, okay, a couple of them.
Planned Parenthood?
Call them up. No, you could Google, right?
You can Google
What states do late-term abortion? It will come up. You call that number, and then you put your speakerphone on, right, like you are now, okay, and listen.
Whoop.
And go through. Walk me through the steps of this late-term abortion, okay? And when Kamala Harris said about the poor young girl who bled out in her car, do you want to know why that happened? Because of a botched abortion, okay? And that was malpractice at its finest.
No, it was
okay?
because she didn't have access to the
That's not
proper.
true.
It absolutely is.
No,
that
it's
is what
not.
all of the
That's not
investigative.
true.
That is what all. What's your source for
That
that?
is
Because
not true.
all of the investigative institutions in that state, in Georgia, said it was because she didn't have proper access to the health care that she needed.
That's not true. She had a procedure,
Yeah.
okay? After the procedure, she got sepsis. So again, I'll say malpractice, okay? So that's what happened there. And do your homework a little better with that.
What percent of abortions do you think happen in the third trimester?
I don't know the percent.
Do you think it's less than 5? Do you think it's less than...
know.
So do
I
you
wouldn't know.
So if it's 1%, do you think that's okay? Do you actually think women are going through 9 months of abortion and just killing their baby for fun without any sort of medical reason?
I wouldn't say that. I would hope not. I would hope there's not evil people that would do that.
Okay, so if a woman goes through 9 months of pregnancy and her life is at risk if she has the baby, do you think abortion is okay?
Well,
in that case?
if her life is at risk, there's exceptions to
Okay.
that. You know, the life of the mother, rape and incest, okay? But if you get past, say, a 16 weeks, if, after that, you're killing a life. It's a life. I was in D.C. in November 14th of 2020.
Yep.
That was a peaceful protest, okay? The only people that were inciting violence or whatever was through BLM and Antifa, what they did. And you know what they did, shooting bottle rockets, you know, throwing urine on people, punching people in the back of the head, like that, okay? So, but otherwise, individuals like myself, peaceful, okay? We went again in December, on December 12th,
Yep.
okay? Same scenario.
And these are all key dates for electoral processes, by the way. Trump was trying to hold rallies on the same day that key electoral processes were happening.
Okay, that was the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Disrupt.
but here, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
okay? For all of us who are here today, who were there January, who were there December, November, like that, and all the attendees who go to any of these rallies, right? You're going to tell me that we're all like brainwashed.
It's not that they're brainwashed, but 90% of the people here think the last election was stolen from
Right.
them
That's
because of Donald Trump's rhetoric leading into the election, on the election.
I wouldn't say the rhetoric. Well,
Absolutely. So if Trump never said the election wasn't stolen, or the election was stolen, no one would think
Okay.
that. He's the one that has said the Emmys were rigged, the primaries were rigged. In 2016, he said that there were millions of illegal votes. He created an institution during his presidency to look for it. When they found nothing, he disbanded it. He disbanded it quietly because there's no fraud. He's a sore loser. So I want to ask
feel
you,
that way.
if you could step into my shoes,
Yes.
and I see Trump as someone who's lying about election fraud, could you see how I think he's sort of a threat to
Well,
our...
I think Biden and Kamala are lying to the public.
About
and
what?
About a lot of things.
Name one.
Okay, let's talk about the World Economic Forum, right? Let's talk about the Green New Steel. Let's talk about that.
These are just
Where-
buzzwords. These are just straight up
they're really-
buzzwords.
they're
What is the
really
World
not.
Economic Forum to you? Is it some nefarious entity trying to
It
take
is.
over? Okay.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Okay, but I want to get back to January 6th, just so you know, from my perspective. Okay, we're on the ground. There were so many people there. Like here, they're expecting 60,000 people. I would say maybe there was 100,000 plus there that day. Okay, so they keep showing that same set of doors, and then there's footage inside the tunnel. I wasn't in there, okay? When Trump was done speaking, he said, we're going to walk. We turn this way, and we start walking towards the
Really quick,
Capitol.
my producer is calling me. Can I ask you one more question,
Sure.
and then I'll give you my card so we can continue this.
All right.
If you had to choose in November
Yes.
between Kamala Harris and Vladimir Putin, who do you vote for?
I would not vote for Kamala.
So you're abstaining, or would you cast the ballot for the big V man?
That's a tough one. That really is a tough one.
Really?
That's a tough one for me. I would never, ever in a million years vote for Kamala.
Okay, what if it's
I might not vote at all then.
What if it's Kamala versus Kim Jong Un?
I probably wouldn't vote.
Wouldn't vote.
No.
So what if Kim Jong Un is ahead in the polls, and you could be the tie-breaking vote, and you could make sure that an American president wins, not Kim Jong or Vladimir Putin? Would you be that tie-breaking vote, or would you let Kim Jong Un get enough power?
I would not vote for
You wouldn't vote?
No, I would not vote for Harris.
That's just from.
Qualifications for Kamala Harris? Sure thing. Here it goes. She graduated from Howard University and the University of California Law School. She then became the DA of Alameda County and then the DA of San Francisco. After that, she became the Attorney General of the state of California. And after that, she became the Senator of California. Right after that, she became the Vice President of the entire United States of America, in which case she was part of the tie-breaking vote for passing the Anti-Inflation Act, allowing the United States to recover better than most nations across the world from the COVID crisis. Also, she passed the American Rescue Plan Act, which helped us get out of the COVID crisis. So you're talking about qualifications. Kamala Harris has way more than enough. And notice how I didn't say anything about her gender or her race, or I didn't even mention about the person that you follow, considering that you follow Tucker Carlson and all those people. So I'm just assuming that this comment's like a gotcha thing, in which case I already mentioned 5 qualifications, and those are only the major ones. So miss me with your little bit of sarcasm right here, because your guy, when he ran in 2016, had absolutely 0 qualifications when it came to American politics. Okay? So why don't you go ahead and take this argument somewhere else, or come up with something new? That's fine. I'll totally debunk that right there too. I'm gonna go eat now. What up? Good talk. Bye.
For those who are uncertain or still contemplating their voting choice, here is a brief summary of Vice President Harris's qualifications.